Okay. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm Vlad. I worked in Cloud AI as a director of product management. Here with me on the stage is Ali Douvre in my team. She will be, she's super brave and will actually be doing a live demo for you. So let's hope internet is good. And Mike, our great partner from Verizon, will also be talking together with us. Yeah, so welcome again, and let us start. This is us again. OK, so let me start with the conversational AI at Google. So conversational AI has been at the very core of Google since the start. So if you just think about it, if you take Google search, so at the very core of the job to be done, the first thing to do is to understand the user query, right? And for that reason, we have been basically working on conversational AI since more than 20 years. And I'm going to give you like a quick tour of some of the features that stuck with me, just to kind of give you an illustration of what type of things we have been doing to improve the understanding of user language. So in 2002, for example, we launched synonyms. So basically, this allowed us to find the most relevant web pages, also when the user didn't type the exact word that is on the web page, right? As long as the meaning is the same. Then soon after, we launched autocomplete predictions. This helped users formulate their queries. Also, for example, in the case that they're not sure maybe how a certain word is written, right? And then we took that even further. So we launched instant search, basically showing you results as you are formulating your thoughts. Then 2012, there was like a big improvement. So we started using knowledge graph. So basically, that was the moment where we included the understanding of the world, the understanding of the entities in the world, the relationship between them, in understanding the user and in Google search. And then conversations, they don't happen mostly or only in a text box, right, or in a chat bubble. So for that reason, we have been working on including like many more modalities in Google search. So for example, you are able to search with your voice across many languages. You're able to search for a song by just listening to it, or even just humming it. I'm not going to try that. Or you're able to search for what you see with Google Lens, or even search for what you see on the screen by just circling it with a circle to search feature. And now, with the new kind of the breakthroughs in generative AI, we're again reimagining what a search engine can do, for example, with the generative search experience we're working on. Another example of a product that's like fully based on conversational AI is Google Translate. We launched Google Translate in 2006. And since then, we have been working on many, many new features and many more languages. Maybe my favorite one is like a feature that we launched like many years ago. It's called bilingual conversations, allowing to users who don't speak the same language to communicate by basically, Google Translate would just listen to one user, translate, and then speak out in the language of the other user, allowing them to communicate. Across also other products, for example, in Gmail, there are plenty of conversational features or features built on conversational AI. For example, Smart Reply, or one of the kind of the later things that we've done is the productivity suite, for example, Help Me Write, and features like that. Google Assistant is fully based on conversational AI, right? So the whole idea of the experience there is to allow users to find information conversationally, but also to take actions conversationally. So behind like many of these improvements, many of these breakthrough technologies, there is actually Google research and DeepMind. So in all these past years, they have been working with us, product teams, to solve the problems that we had to actually have the best possible product for our users. So along the way, they actually invented like fundamental new technologies to help us do that. Like one example is generative AI itself, the way that we all live it today. So generative AI revolution has started in Google research with the 2017, the paper Attention is All You Need, that introduced the transformer architecture. So the main point I want to make is that, at Google, we really have a deep understanding of the technologies that are needed for conversational AI. And also, we have like a DNA or innovating on conversational AI. And then B, beyond just having the technology and knowing how to do technology, we actually developed a lot of expertise in using that technology to build products that are great for our users and that our users love to use, right? And myself and many of my colleagues have been working in the past in many other parts of Google, working on these type of problems as the one that I described. And now our mission in Cloud AI is to bring the same breakthrough technologies to you, to allow you to also innovate and basically transform your business and your products by using the state-of-the-art conversational AI. And in Google Cloud, we're exceptionally well positioned to help you, right? So beyond giving you access to the state-of-the-art models, by partnering with Google, you actually are also very well positioned to stay at the forefront as we keep innovating in the model space. Also, using Google Search, using our pedigree in basically finding information, we can also help you make sure that the answers you're giving are grounded in reality, both in reality of the trustful sources on the web with the latest grounding on Google Search that we launched, but also in your own enterprise knowledge and data. And then enterprise readiness means that you can launch in a compliant way without having to worry too much about infrastructure and things like that, because we manage all of that. So now, what are the type of problems that can be solved with this type of technology? So what are the problems that we actually see our customers, the customers or our developer platform, solving for their users using our tech? So let us go through some of the ones that kind of come to mind to me. So one of the area of huge adoption where we're seeing is actually customer care. So many customers are working with us and using our tools and technology to implement new solutions and transform their contact centers and their customer care. And this is, we are seeing over and over that our technology is kind of instrumental to drive metrics across the board. So from customer satisfaction to improvements in cost and efficacy of how you're running a contact center. So let me be very concrete. For example, conversational AI can be used to implement chatbots or voice bots that can basically eliminate waiting time when customers are calling you and take care of many of the problems directly. Then for those chats and calls that reach your live agents, the live agents can get access to new tools that help them do their job more efficiently, like maybe surfacing the right information at the right time, suggesting the right answers to them, or even autocomplete, like in the features that I was talking about before, and so on and so on. Then also we are including tools that are based on generative AI and conversational AI that allow you to analyze the data in a very sophisticated way and basically see what is working in your contact center, what is not working, and where you can improve, why are the users contacting you, and so on and so on. Conversational AI, another area where we are seeing a lot of adoption, is in the travel kind of use cases, right? We're working with several customers there to implement different parts of the user journeys. So for example, we can chat with the user and give some inspirational travel destination in a personalized way, or maybe even invent an itinerary for a for a trip that already has been booked, right? Or even better than that, like maybe there are some changes in the real world. Maybe the weather is changing, so we can proactively suggest a new itinerary, for example, the one that is happening indoor. So all of this can be enabled with this technology, and we are seeing a lot of traction there. Another example, for example, food ordering. So we are piloting with several drive-thru stations where conversational AI can be used to listen to the user and understand very complicated orders, and then also recommend the right products to them. So basically, it frees up the time of the employees to focus on food preparation, so they don't have to juggle kind of doing two things at the same time, and improves waiting time for customers and improves revenue for the restaurants. The last area there are many others, but this is just the ones that I wanted to surface. And the last one is an area where we are seeing a really super strong product market fit is conversational AI for improving the productivity of employees in enterprise companies. So we already touched on the customer care, like improving the performance of your live agents, but the same type of technologies and user journeys can be applied in many other departments of the company, if not all of them or most of them, right? For example, in marketing and sales, you can imagine that the AI can help you look up trends, analyze research, generate content like press releases, and so on, right? Obviously, in the developer space in IT, so conversational AI can help you produce better code and just like increase your efficiency, and so on and so on. So now I'm going to pass over to Ali, who will guide you a bit through how the developer experience to create some of these products looks like.
Thanks, Vlad. All right, so let's discuss how you can implement some of these examples through a couple of distinct developer journeys. So we know every user is different and has distinct skill sets. So as a result, we've adapted and evolved our offerings to provide a couple of distinct solutions for you. On the left-hand side, we're offering out-of-the-box quality for fast and easy setup via our agents console, and this is our no/low-code solution. And on the right-hand side, we're providing you with the ability to customize your apps and components and then orchestrate them using LangChain in Vertex AI. So I'll start with our no-code agents, and then I'll dive into the customizable piece with Vertex AI. All right, so first off, what is an agent? An agent is an LLM-powered conversation that you have instructed using a natural language prompt. Traditional conversational agents can be limiting for certain use cases. They rely on rigid rules, they can struggle with unexpected questions or digressions, and can often feel robotic. And this can lead to frustrated customers and unresolved inquiries. With our new Agents console, you can build faster, you can handle these conversational edge cases and digressions, and you can integrate with your enterprise apps, APIs, and websites. And most of all, you can also prioritize other work now that you no longer need to manage a corpus of intent training data and state machines. And you can do all of this without writing a single line of code. So an agent is made up of a couple of components that you can see on the right-hand side. First off, you have a description, which is the high-level goal for your agent. Next, you have step-by-step instructions, which is how your agent should behave, reason, and which tools it should call to execute what sort of task. You then, of course, have tools, which is where you might call other agents, functions, or extensions. And a note here, extensions can allow agents to execute tools automatically. You can also add few-shot examples to iterate and improve on quality over time. And then, of course, you have your choice of LLM model here. So the agent console allows any sort of user, regardless of skill set, to build holistic and helpful agents based on customizable data stores or your knowledge assets from beginning to end. So let me walk you through 3 areas that we're going to dive into a little bit more deeply. So first off, I'll talk about out-of-the-box quality and how this, what this actually means within the Agents console. Next, I'll talk about development tools that can support your end-to-end development journey. And then third, a couple of different features and components to help you launch faster. All right, so let's start with out-of-the-box quality. We know that quality is at the forefront of many of your decisions. The decision to pick a provider, the decision to launch, we know this is critical for you. And so as a result, we've designed the Agents console to provide out-of-the-box quality from the start, all via our no-code platform. You can choose which LLM model works best for your use case, including Gemini Pro in GA and Gemini 1.5 Pro in preview. You can also use our out-of-the-box RAG solution to answer your questions based on your data. So this means that answers are grounded, again, in your data. So we do this by evaluating a confidence level, and that's the confidence level that gauges that all the information that is provided in the response is supported by information in your data store content. And you can customize which types of responses to allow by adjusting this confidence level. As a result, if a response comes back with a lower confidence level than that than what you had previously set, it will not be shown. Additionally, we're providing you with tools, test cases, a simulator, and more to test and iterate on your conversational app. Besides out-of-the-box quality, we have a number of different end-to-end development tools to support you in your journey. So first off, you can create an agent from scratch, or you can use one of our pre-built agents to help you kick off agent creation or for inspiration around prompt generation. Next, once you've built an agent using that natural language prompt, you can add a data store to it. You can integrate it with first and third-party tools. And then, once your agent is built, you can iterate on it and test it and then debug it with detailed action and conversation tracing, token counts, and more. And then, of course, you can fix any issues that arise through adding few-shot examples and adjusting those instructions. And then once you are ready, you can monitor those conversations within conversation history and then integrate with any of our first click or one-click integrations. Finally, we're providing you with a fast and secure path to production on Google Cloud Platform. We know time is of the essence, and so we want to help you launch faster. First, the end user experience is important, and it's not all about quality. We want to ensure that the information you're providing to your end users is aligned with your branding guidelines and is also displayed in the appropriate manner to help your end users understand what is being presented to them. So using function calling and markup, you can now display rich content like images, code snippets, tables, and more. Second, testing is key, so we're providing you with a number of tools to help you test and prototype and launch faster. Third, as I mentioned, we have a number of robust one-click integrations. To name a few, we have Google Chat, Slack, Dialogflow Messenger, Twilio, and more. And all you need to do is copy the embed code that is provided in the agent's console, paste it into your application, and you're ready to go. Last, we're committed to ensuring that you have control over your data and are offering data at rest assurances with more to come very soon. We're continuing to invest in this space so that we can help you use generative AI responsibly and in line with your security and compliance needs. All right, so now we're going to switch over to the demo. All right. Thank you. So I'll give you a little bit of a walkthrough of the agent's console first to help us all get a lay of the land. So when you create an agent, you are automatically within a default agent. So this is the start of your conversation. So here you can see that you can adjust the agent name. You then have your goal, which is that high-level description of your agent. You can add instructions, which are those step-by-step instructions where you can also reference tools, other agents, et cetera. Then we have some tools. So by default, you will always see this first-party Google extension called Code Interpreter, and this can help you with code generation and code execution. And then for expediency, I've loaded a couple of other tools here that I'll dive into so you see how I did it. And then, of course, parameters down here. And parameters are values that we can capture from the end user and store as part of the session context. All right, so let's add a brief goal here. And for context, I'm running a half marathon soon, so I always have a ton of running needs and questions whenever I am looking to start a run. So let's imagine a company, an e-retailer called Symbol Running, and their goal is to expand their loyal customer base beyond their existing product catalog. So as a result, we're going to help them create an app that can help their customers who are runners answer questions. So let's add a goal here. Help Symbol Running customers with their running needs. And I'm going to keep the instructions and the tools blank for now. I'll click Save. And let's just give this a test now to see how this works out of the box. So I'm going to ask how many miles is in a 10K. All right, 6.2, that looks correct. Okay, and how about a half marathon? Okay, so based on my own internal data store, I know that these answers are correct. And so as you can see, without any instructions or tools or links to the outside world, this is already functioning and answering very helpful questions. Okay, so let's expand this a little bit more. Symbol sponsors a number of races every year, and they want to help their running community understand and get information about upcoming races. So I'm going to add a Symbol running data store to this agent. And now let's look under the hood to see what this is. So here, the Symbol data store is actually a repository of their enterprise content. So I've added their website to this data store, and then a couple of PDF promotional documents as well in the unstructured document field. I've enabled grounding, and then I'm also using simply the default summarization prompt. So now, based on this content, I should be able to ask questions about Symbol running and get answers from their data. All right, so let's give this a test. When is the Symbol 10K? All right, so it's telling me the 10K is on April 21st. So now let's look at what is happening behind the scenes. So in the input here, we have my user query, which is the question that I asked. And then we have the generated answer down here, which is supported by the PDF here that is part of the data store and the actual text directly from that PDF up here. So this is how we can confirm that the information that I was presented as an end user is grounded in enterprise data. All right, so let's expand this a little bit more. Two of my top needs whenever I'm going on a run are trying to find new routes to stay entertained, and two, knowing what the weather is so I can dress appropriately. So let's see how I can answer common questions like that. We're going to add two new tools, a get route and get weather tool. I'm going to save those. And again, let's take a look at how these are structured. So immediately we can see that these two tools are distinct from the data store tool. They follow an open API schema. And so what this means is you can use your APIs directly through this open API schema using either YAML or JSON. And so for this get route tool, the requirement input parameter is simply a neighborhood, and then it'll output name, description, distance. Similarly, for the get weather tool, it'll simply need a location. All right, so let's give this a test now. What is the best, let's see, what is a good running route on the Upper West Side? Okay, it's suggesting the Central Park Loop, which is about 6 miles, and then is also providing me with another option, which is around the reservoir for a little bit of a shorter run. All right, and then what's the best weather day this week to go for a run? All right, and it's telling me that for New York, the best day is tomorrow with a temperature of 60 degrees. And if we look here, I never technically specified New York City as my location, but given the neighborhood of the Upper West Side, that context has persisted within the session, and I can still get the weather information for New York. Okay, great. So now that these questions can get answered, let's try to wire disparate pieces together. So I have another agent that I've previously built that can help with product inventory questions, and this is called Product Finder. So this is the bread and butter of symbol running. As we can see, we have a number of instructions already and a couple of different tools. And importantly here, as you can see, we have a couple of different parameters that we are collecting from the end user to help them with their running shoe needs. All right, so let's just give this a test to see how it works. I'd like some new running shoes. I will say trails, even though it's not true, but it should be. And I'll say I prefer black. Okay, fairly standard. So let's now see how we can reference this agent within our default agent. So we're going to go back to our default agent here and expand our goal. And I'm also going to add an instruction. So if a customer wants to purchase new running shoes, use agent product finder, easy enough. And I'll also show you another tool around get order status. Okay, so let's give this a test now. What is the when will my new shoes arrive? Order ID 12345. Very complex order ID system. All right, and it's telling me that my new shoes, these waterproof shoes, are arriving on April 21st. And now let's see how we can transition to that other agent. So you can never have too many. I also want new running shoes. And as you can see, it's transitioning me to that other agent called Product Finder that we just went through. Just to show you that it's the same, I'll say the same thing. All right. So that's how you can wire disparate agents together within the agents console. So finally, a couple of other pieces that I'll highlight are we have a test cases section whereby you can create and run test cases periodically to check for regressions. We have a conversation history section whereby you can monitor production conversations to check for regressions, issues, monitor trends. And then, of course, our integrations here. And this is where you can view our embed codes, edit them, copy, etc. So let's just see how this works. So this is the symbol running website that we've created here. So let's give this a test. When will my new shoes arrive? Order ID 12345. So those same shoes. So now what we will see is that my shoes are arriving on April 21st, and we're also seeing some rich content that's displayed, an image, and then with the underlying source information. So this is how you can build, wire together, test, and then ultimately launch through our one-click integrations with the agents console. All right, now let's get back to the presentation. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. So we understand that this out-of-the-box quality works for many use cases and many users. But some of you have expressed the need for further customization through a code-first journey. So let's move on to how Vertex AI can help you with exactly that. So to create performant applications, we know our customers need and want that control. And so as a result, we've taken all of the pieces that are required to create these applications and broken them down into primitives, allowing you to put them back together as you need. So these apps are comprised of these 4 components. So let's dive into each of these. First, we have our model. So via Vertex's model garden, you can select your flavor, checkpoints, fine-tuning, and eval for your model across various tasks. And this allows you to use function calling for extended context, constraint decoding, UI testing, and quality evals. Next, Gemini can figure out which tool to call based on a user query. So all you need to do is define your function, wrap functions in a call, and then call Gemini with a tools argument. And when you need orchestration for agent-like behavior, you can use LangChain templates to manage open source software, versioning, and more. Last, you can use Reasoning Engine in Vertex to productize, deploy, and scale with a simple API call. So LangChain on Vertex is just one of our many code-first offerings. And with this, we can easily help you orchestrate your agents using one of our most popular open source Python frameworks that we know Gen AI developers like yourselves love and then deploy on Vertex AI. We're really excited about these 2 developer journeys, and we're already seeing significant use of these. And so as a result, I want to point out a couple of examples beyond my favorite symbol running. So in finance, you can perform market research and also fetch real-time currency exchange information. In travel, as Vlad mentioned, you can search for live flight and hotel information. And in retail, you can make live queries to product inventory systems to check for stock, just as I did with symbol running. So today, what I've discussed and more is available in preview with more to come. And we'll be moving these to GA soon. Now, let's hear how Mike and Verizon is using the power of Gen AI.
Thank you. That was a nice demo. All right. So my name is Mike Hawkins. Actually, I'm an AVP at Verizon. I lead for our channel's customer success. That's traditionally what we refer to as a customer service channel. I lead the channel technology and strategy team. Let's see. So a little bit of history about Verizon with CCAI is we were actually the first company to adopt CCAI worldwide back in 2019. Our journey really started with Dialogflow. And we had 4 principal areas that we were really looking at trying to work and prioritize. One was we wanted to create a frictionless self-service environment. We've achieved a lot in this area, and this is probably the area that we leaned into the most early on. Today, we see our chatbot experience on Dialogflow for the intents that we choose to put there. We see a high 60% containment rate or deflection rate in there. We also see that CSAT area is within 1,000 basis points of what we see our representatives. On our voice bot side, also using Dialogflow today as we're starting to leverage and starting to bring in generative AI, but we see close to a 50% containment rate with a similar but slightly lower customer satisfaction, but still driving those numbers higher. The areas where we've seen that success, though, and we're continuing to drive it using Gemini, as well as we're starting to leverage Call Companion to get into more complex type of intents, very complex billing intents and troubleshooting intents that starts to formulate kind of our next chapter in the self-serve space. But what we've seen is that high rate of deflection calls with our customers being very satisfied with it. It's actually making the calls that are landing with our agents that much more complex. They're really handling the multi-intent calls today, the calls that the customer's got 5 different items that they're calling about. So now we've really pivoted to put a lot of focus in on creating highly more proficient agents in our call centers. Starting to leverage Gemini here, this is where we're starting to digest. We have about 8,000 OSTs for our knowledge base. And if you think about it, we have tens of thousands of call center agents. So one of the problems that we are trying to solve is how do we get more productive? How do we reduce that handle time for the calls that do come into the centers? But also, how do we start to get more consistent and more high quality answers? So if you think about it, if we have 8,000 OSTs, and I don't know if any of you have heard about Verizon, like My Plan. So it's a great plan if you haven't checked it out. But it's very complex for our agents a lot of times. It's a plan that you can get, your unlimited welcome. It's pricing changes depending on how many lines you add. You get all these perks that you can add. You can customize. Every customer can customize their own based on perks that they want for different streaming services. But for us, that OST, that single OST for our agents is over 25 pages long if you were to print it out. And on top of that, it links out to 5 other OSTs. But with Gemini, we're able to now get very specific, summarized responses that start to be more and more consistent. So if you think about it, you've got 20,000 agents that are reading a 25-page OST. Your response variation starts to become very, very diverse. So Gemini is helping us in terms of getting that more consistent, but also helping us so that the agents don't feel like they have to learn and know so much going on. We're actually started it with our agent assist also on Dialogflow, but now we're actually moving. We've been having about 300 to 500 agents that have been testing the ones based on generative AI. We're actually now moving to full production launch, and we'll have 25,000 agents using our generative AI info bot in May. So talking a little bit more about our key pillars of our strategy. So AI first is a key pillar of our strategy going forward. And CCAI and the Google stack is our common corpus. That gives us a lot of benefits across the stack because what we're able to do is, as we're starting to do more and more with our desktop with the Google stack, as well as our self-serve environment, is starting to learn from all those transcripts. How can we continue to improve our self-serve bot? And also, what are we seeing that's more effective in our self-serve bot that's still landing within our agents so we can create our agents to be more efficient? The next thing we're doing is, like I mentioned it before, everything that we're doing is customer focused. So we're actually starting with the customer and working backwards to our employees. That's part of the reason why we started with the chatbot and the voice bot experience and worked backwards towards the agent desktop experience. But delivering that multimodal Omni CX, this is where we're starting to get into. In our voice bot, still having the ability within the device, within the mobile device, to actually see and open up your account and actually be able to see your bill so we can get into some of those more complex billing issues. But also one of the things that we've never been able to tackle in the self-serve environment is some of those complex troubleshooting flows. So we know that this is going to unlock that ability for us. And the reason we haven't attempted it is we knew we wouldn't be able to make a frictionless experience. But now that the technology within the Google stack is starting to get there, we know that that's an area that we can begin to tackle. The next is time to value, which we actually are really kind of evolving our approach on this. Verizon's a very large enterprise, so we've historically been very methodical about moving from development into pilots, and that's a very long course. And we wanted to be very sure we were ready to go before we go into a pilot. We're actually moving more into low-cost experimentations, and we're really looking forward to the advancements that's coming in platforms like Shift to help us start to do a little bit more quickly. Create small, low-cost experiments where we can actually go into some of our call centers, which we had the opportunity to bring some of the Google team in not too long ago, into Bucharest, where we really were able to learn a lot. We tried out a couple of different models, a couple of different desktop experiences. We also tried out proactive listening, so that we're actually Gen AI agent assist, rather than the agent actually having to type the question. We're actually listening in on the trunk or the telephony line and actually allowing the prompt to be automatically created by Gemini and bring back that response so the agent doesn't have to type. So that low-cost experimentation, where we're able to do experiments, leveraging platforms like Vertex AI and Shift, that's how we see us really getting to that speed of value. Next. So like I mentioned, key pillars for our strategy, one of the things that we also like about the Google stack is it plays so well with everything else that we're doing. So we leverage CCI, like I mentioned, and the Google stack is our common corpus. But we also leverage kind of some other area niche players that tag along into that for areas that we feel like they have a little bit more. They're very focused in their area, so it complements the stack overall. And we have our internal SOI team as well, which is doing a lot in terms of SLMs. So as we're looking at Google in the stack for our large language model, how we're also developing some of those niche, like billing-specific SLMs that work in tandem and tangent with it. So within the stack, we have a fabulous partnership. This is kind of the way that Verizon is moving forward in terms of the areas that we're looking for, really focusing on the agent workspace, and excited about what Gemini is going to bring to us in the future.